Hello, hello, beautiful souls and beautiful humans. How are you doing? Rosanna Rosie Glow Hannes here, Channel of Divine Grace and StarSeed Divine Blueprint Activator. I'll be letting you know more about that as time goes on, but essentially this is an energy update of what's going on with the Lions Gate presently and preparation for the full moon in Aquarius, which although won't be until the 12th of August, my birthday, I will be offering something live on the Star Peace Facebook page on Wednesday the 10th. Let's come back to Lions Gate. Today is the peak. Now, if you're new to what Lions Gate is all about, just imagine that our spiritual sun is lining up with our solar sun and with our planet and transmitting all these beautiful high frequency energies to us, for us, to amplify our intentions in this world, to amplify the divine path, the chosen path that our soul chose for us before we incarnated. Now, for those of us who are grounded, centered, working our tools, this is a wonderful time when we receive the energy that we need just to allow any resistance that's still occurring to be cleared from our cellular memory, from our cloud storage, from our subconscious and our conscious mind, so we can fully align with our superconscious. But for those of us who are basically doing our best to move forward, but actually finding ourselves in a loop, very much stuck in the head, stuck in fear, anxiety, worry, what ends up happening is when Lionsgate comes along, it amplifies everything. So we can end up feeling more chaotic, more ungrounded, less sure of our direction, creating more confusion. And I really want to invite everybody to understand that if that's where you're at, that's okay. There's something we can do very quickly to align you with receiving the blessings rather than feeling like you're blown about by these energies and unable to make the most of them. They happen once a year. The peak is really between the 8th and the 12th of August, but the energies start to build from around the 26th to the 28th of July. Now, from my point of view, when I talk about being a soul blueprint activator for StarSeeds, that is first and foremost us recognizing that StarSeeds are higher frequency souls that are coming into a lower density physical environment in order to support the ascension for all of humanity and for our beautiful planet. But what ends up happening as we enter into our physical lives, into the bloodlines that we incarnate in, is we forget exactly why we came here. And very often in our best intentions to help progress our bloodlines, which is why we chose them, we can end up getting really caught up in the stories of our bloodline ancestors and actually truly forget our key potent gift that we are here to share with this world, and the most optimal, graceful, and easy way to be able to share that with this world. So this is the invitation, my friends. Lions Gate is about reminding you why you're here, showing you clearly what isn't working, and inviting you to explore what will work to support you to get really aligned with your soul blueprint. Now, the work I do with my coaching clients is to take them deeper into their soul blueprint to help them understand how their early influences, the times before they were born, even from before their conception through to birth, influence one, their purpose here on this earth, but two, the challenges that they face all of the time, every time that we seek to upgrade, we seek to expand, we seek to align, and what can be done about that. So if you want to know more about that, please do head over to rosannahannes.com, starpeaceconsciousness.com, rosieglow.com, and just book in a slot to speak to me, to speak to my team, because we'll be delighted to let you know what we actually offer. Let's bring it back till today. How are you feeling yesterday? How are you feeling today? Ultimately, anything that is in the way of your next ascension path, the next element of your path, is going to come up. And what I want to just remind everybody of is at each stage of our growth, what ends up happening is we will meet our resistance every time we take a step forward. Now, in the 7-7 portal, we were starting to work with the mother wound. Okay, this is what came up with the new moon and the full moon in July. And by that, I mean the unmet needs, the lack of nurturing, the judgment, the criticism that would have come from our maternal lineage that ultimately has stopped us having faith in the divine feminine to support us to thrive, to support us to grow in the direction we want. In particular, what was coming up was the wound of narcissism, blame, and guilt. So that kind of projection. As we moved into the new moon in Leo, and as we prepare now for the full moon in Aquarius, what we're finding ourselves dealing with is the father wound. And this is really important because in our patriarchal society, which is currently being dismantled, the divine is only expressed as the masculine. It was in our previous era, the time of matriarchy, where the divine was expressed as the feminine. Now, as always, it's not either or, it's and this and more. So presently, we are facing the wounds of the masculine, the father. Okay, we're facing the wounds of our unmet needs from our own fathers, stepfathers, the masculine in our lives. And this is coming up more as the martyrdom wound, interestingly, and also the judgment and the shame that we have held. Now, whether you identify with the mother having passed these on to you or the father having passed these on to you in terms of life lessons to overcome, to bring light and love to, they're all happening simultaneously. I'm explaining it in these linear ways just for our minds, our brains to be able to comprehend things enough, slow everything down and accept the gifts that are available to us. So, as we are in Lions Gate now, and then we're heading to the full moon, everything that is coming up to allow the deepest alignment and the deepest clearing. So we have an inner family, solar plexus, wounded mother, wounded father, wounded child. As we evolve our inner family from the solar plexus to the heart center, we then become the mature masculine, the mature feminine, and the divine child. Now, you may prefer divine or sacred masculine, divine or sacred feminine, whatever language you want to use and whatever gender you do or don't identify with. Please just remember we are talking in the context of our inner family in relation to the divine and what we understand and accept and believe about the divine. It's time to upgrade those beliefs because we are here now to seed the time of uniarchy, which is the time of the divine child. That means mum and dad have owned their shadow enough inside of us that they have upgraded into the heart space and they're now able to meet the needs of our inner child. So our inner child can say, hey, mum and dad, I want to have this experience now that I'm in this physical body. How do I line up with it so that I can actually have this experience? Maybe it's a loving relationship you want. Maybe it's a better relationship with resource, with wealth. Maybe it's to feel as though you're fully aligning with your soul purpose in terms of your career here on this earth. Maybe it's a better relationship with your body. Whatever it is that you have a desire to experience, just imagine that what you're being invited into is knowing that your inner mum and your inner dad are able to help you to line up fully with receiving this experience. So you are the energy that allows you to transmit the frequency, to radiate it, where you will magnetize towards you this experience. And that's what this Lions Gate is all about. What I would love you to know is that when we want to actually receive these upgrades, it's not about us speeding up. It is about us slowing down. Just imagine a rocket as it gets ready for liftoff. And you hear the words 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff. So it's going to 0 point to 0 before we can actually ascend. We need to descend, root down in order to rise up. And that's why I created a yoga workshop online specifically for us to harness the energies of Lions Gate so we can have the most enjoyable experience, not just now, which is the start of the galactic year, but also every time that we experience another upgrade, whether there's some kind of alignment in our solar system, our astrological alignment, whether we've got loads more solar flares affecting us, whatever is going on, we're able to reset our internal circuitry so we can benefit from the higher frequency energies rather than finding that they throw us into more chaos. Now, in this yoga workshop, it's both a restorative and a playful workshop. It's online, 7:30 p.m. BST. So in Europe, that's an hour later, that's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Central Time is 5 hours before, so that's 3:30 p.m. And whatever time you can join us, even if you can't actually join us today, remember the Lions Gate portal is open until Friday, so you can catch the replay anytime that you like, and you can utilize the various sequences that I'm going to be sharing in this workshop to be able to stabilize your energy. We're going to be working with restoratives for lifting us out of feeling low mood or depressed. We're also going to work with restoratives to balance anxiety levels, because if you're anything like me, you get very jumpy when these energies are around. It's like we're really buzzy. We can't really be effective with our energy until we root it down, ground, and stabilize. And we're also going to be playing with masculine and feminine forms of yoga, because most of the yoga that's popular in the West today is actually a masculine form of yoga. Whatever it's called, whatever the different style is, it was taught by men to men in India. And now we're learning more about what we need as women and also as men who want to identify with their mature feminine, their sacred feminine, and learn how to balance their inner masculine and feminine too. Now, if you're transgender, if you're non-binary, the important thing to remember is, how do you want your relationship with the divine to show up? The qualities of the masculine, the qualities of the feminine, as we have understood them through time, and more importantly, the qualities of the creator within you, which is the child. Do we want to operate from our unmet needs, create from our unmet needs and our wounds, or do we want to create from the space in us that knows we are truly worthy of every experience we desire to have? And therefore, all we need to do is ask, and we shall receive. The work that's involved is following the instructions, and that's something we will be exploring tonight. So if you would like to join us, what's going to be important is, one, you sign up, and please don't leave it till the last minute. Two, you're going to need some yoga props. So if you don't have a yoga bolster, roll up a thick blanket and just tie it with something soft. Grab yourself a couple of blankets and a couple of pillows and a shawl you can put over your eyes or an eye pillow. You're also going to need a yoga mat, but that's it. That's all you need to bring with you, notebook and pen. We're going to be looking at the story that we most want to actualize in this next 12-month cycle. And again, just show up, okay? Bring your crystals, bring whatever it is you want to energize. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop, which is going to allow us at least half an hour of just stopping and fully receiving the frequencies that are coming through. Now, if you want to do something else today as well, my dear friends Ollie and Megan are putting on a transmission of light over 3 days. They're brilliant souls that work very much with star families, as I do, and they do an online sound bath where they're going to be taking us through the ascension energies over the next 3 days. So I'll put the link in the text box for you to be able to sign up to that too, if you wish. And that's 3 to 4:30 p.m. BST on each of these 3 days. And then there'll be a sort of grounding in at the end, a stabilizing on the 12th as well. This Wednesday, which is when I will be giving you the full moon transmission. So every month I show up for a new moon co-creation, and every month I show up for a full moon world service, personal healing and light language transmission that is a co-creation as well, to help us clear the resistance that shows up when the moon is full and is highlighting the subconscious resistance to what we say we want. So that will be on the Star Peace Facebook page, which I'll put the link to for you. And that will be at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, the 10th of August. And this is where we're going to be clearing up the resistance that's been showing up over the last couple of weeks, particularly in the last few days. And we'll be working with releasing, in particular, the inner victim, however that shows up. Now, who do you pity? Who do you feel hard done by? Who do you feel sorry for? What do you feel sorry for? How is it that your inner poor me shows up? And I promise you, we all have one. We all have one. I still have one. And this inner me shows up when I'm ready to have a breakthrough. And it's all about that internal dialogue, how your inner mum and inner dad show up to support you to have a breakthrough rather than to undermine you, which may well have been your experience in previous years as you were growing up. We are the ones that need to do the self-talk that is going to support us to really trust and believe in ourselves and our intrinsic worth, because all of us are worthy of what we desire. We just have to line up with it. So that's your invitation. This particular Monday, 7:30 p.m, join me for the restorative and playful yoga. On Wednesday at 1 p.m, join me on the Star Peace Facebook page, and there'll be a sign-up link for that as well for the full moon transmission. And in between, if you want to make the most of Ollie and Megan's offering, then you can sign up to their transmission of light too. This is the season, my friends, for really cultivating the courage to reach for the stars, to go, I want that. And if my life is any example of what actually happens when you do that, I have gone from lack to absolute abundance. I have gone from not having the things I want in my life to having everything as a foundational point in my life that I could possibly desire. All that's required now is amplification. The stories inside change, and as a result of that, so do the stories outside. If we have gone from never having the kind of love we wanted to, imagine then having a partner that is able to represent for you the kind of love you've always sought to experience. If you have troublesome relationships with your children or your parents, imagine being in a state where you can accept them just as they are, see the best in them, and help them to be able to fulfill their destiny on this earth. And that might mean that you have to play the game of strong boundaries, where you will not allow yourself to be treated in ways that are unloving and unkind, and you lead by example. We are all making a fundamental shift presently, from the fear matrix to the divine matrix, from the struggle paradigm to the thrive paradigm. And what this requires is for us to change the fuel that we run on, from adrenaline to the love hormone oxytocin. That whole journey of actually doing the fuel change and the platform upgrade is what I offer both in one-to-one work and in group settings for those of you who want to take this journey. It can only benefit you in every area of your life because it is a platform upgrade. For those of you who'd like to know more about that, we'll put the link to the breakthrough call as well, so you can actually book in with that and find out more. But what I'd love you just to appreciate in this moment is that we are building Paradise Earth. We are co-creating a new reality through our own example. And whenever we get beautiful energies available to us, like the Lions Gate, we're basically being given all the grace codes we could possibly want, which is the power of revelation, the ability for us to see something we could not see before. And as a result of that, to break free from a limiting mindset or a limiting behavior or a limiting expectation that keeps creating conditions in our lives that we really want to overcome. So that's the invitation. Join me, make the most of this. Remember, as StarSeeds, we have a different remit as to why we're here on this planet right now. It's very important we recognize this, because most of us come into very challenging early life experiences in order to trigger the memory of our soul purpose, which we self-elected, and therefore to remember what we are already masters of and be able to share where we have mastered things in previous lives in this life for the highest good of all and the win-win-win in everything. That's all I've got to say for now. I send you loads and loads and loads of love, and I thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you later and on Wednesday. Namaste.